Alright, welcome back, Fishaholics. So a little bit of a late start today. It's about 1 o'clock and we just dropped the Hobie in the water, and that was because last night it got to like 40 degrees, so pretty cold, and today it's really windy, only about 55, 60 degrees, and it's midday. So we were waiting till the middle of the day to really get out and start our adventure, and today we're in Port St. Lucie, getting out on the headwaters of the North Fork on the St. Lucie River. I thought it looked really good on the map. I read a little bit about it, and I'm hoping we get out and try and catch some snook. That's our primary target, but of course we'll be game for anything interesting to happen today. So we're gonna throw on the life jacket and get in the kayak, head up the river, and start our little self-guided tour. Let's do it. Being that I'm a northern guy, 55, 60 degree weather, this is mint. But let's see if the fish like it as much as I do. Look at all this. So we're gonna try and stick to the calmer sides of some mangroves and all this vegetation here. Yesterday we were on the South Fork of the river and did a lot of dock flipping and fishing, and I don't feel like doing that today, so we're gonna give this a shot. And we have got 75 degree water temps on the North Fork. Yesterday on the South Fork we had 76 to like 78. So a little bit warmer on the south end, but this is still pretty warm water. And it already feels a lot warmer air temperature back out of the wind. In that wind when I was cutting across, felt like it dropped 10 degrees. But right here it feels real nice, so I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be fish kind of staging real close up tight in that shallow water, you know, sunning themselves. And if they see a little bait cruise by them, maybe we can get them to strike it. Whew. Wow, this looks really good in here. And I'm seeing a good consistent amount of mullet swimming up and down. So I think it's a good idea to start with, you know, a small little swim bait, and we'll kind of fish along here pretty quick, cover a lot of water, cover a lot of structure. And if we don't see any fish or get any bites, then we'll switch to maybe something slower to work just right along the bottom if these snook are a little more lethargic after the little cold spell last night. How's it going? Bluefish. All right, we got to put the rod down so we can make way. So we're heading upriver, and the river actually forked, so we're going up the eastern end because it's a lot narrower and a lot less windier, and there's an estuary that connects from the eastern to the western end, and I think it looks really good on the map. It probably will be shallower, probably be warmer, and then once we fish that, we can always cut back to the western end and ride it down back to where we started. The western end had white caps on it, so that's why I decided, all right, we're gonna go up the eastern end. So we'll keep working our way up. We got about like a mile, and hopefully there's fish up there. All right, we made it to the creek. That was like a 10-15 minute workout just to get up here. Dang. It's really whipping right down the river, and then the tide is going out as well. Nice. Looks really good in here. We just got to find them now. Got a fishing lure in the mangroves here. Look at that little rebel popper. All right, so it's been about 1 hour, and we've been hitting this spot, which I thought was more like an estuary, but it's more like a diversion creek from the eastern end to the western end of the river. And we threw around a little swim bait for a while. We threw around the DUA for a little while. Did have one solid hit on this, but I think it's time to move on. Nothing really significant here, even though it looks really good. The water is at a good level. We could flip up underneath the vegetation and get in the strike zone, but nothing significant. So we're gonna jump on the western end of the river now and start heading down and keep doing the same thing until we find some consistent action. I'm gonna stick to throwing the little DUA on a little jig head because we did have a significant bite on it. We'll see what happens. I'm not really sure about the population size, and we're stuck. Great. but there's probably snook in here. I did see some jacks, and I did taste the water. It's got a good salinity to it. Well, there's a fish. All right, there's something. A little mangrove snapper. Not a giant, but cool looking fish. We'll take it. All right, so that's a good sign. If they're here, there's probably snook up in here. Look at that spot up in there. This is a definite fish. It should be. Look at that little hole right up in there in the mangroves. How could there not be something in there? Like any kind of fish. All right, it's 4:30. Wasted another hour and a half on these mangroves. We gotta make a game-changing decision now. We're gonna go downriver quite a ways. I don't know where, but we're gonna go somewhere better than up here. There's a fish. Hey, we got one. Real tiny snook. Really ate it. That's a start. Only took us 4 hours. Caught him real tight to the mangroves, and he actually swam out with it. Like, he ate it, and then I saw the line going to the side, felt the weight, and knew he was there. I came a little bit further downriver, but not doing anything that much different than what we've been doing the whole time that we were out here. But maybe this is where the snook like to hang out. I don't know. Oh my gosh. All right, we caught another little one. That's showing some consistency. This is the smallest snook I've probably ever caught. Natural born predator right there. There's another one. All right, that's 3. That's a bite right there. Not big, but I just caught 3 in the last 30 minutes. Now we just need to find a couple bigger ones, and we'll be having a great day. Now that we found some consistent water. Sometimes that's what it takes. You go to a new spot, fish it all day just to figure a little something out. Or I fish spots for weeks long just to finally figure a little bit out. So that's what it takes to really make reports on your own. Just time on the water. We got to go into this little pocket here. Looks way too juicy. There's one. Better one. Nice one. Oh, real nice fish. Stay hooked. Stay hooked, stay hooked, stay hooked. Caught him out of a foot of water. Oh gosh. Stay hooked, stay hooked, stay hooked. Gotta baby this fish. So lucky. This fish went out from the mangroves once he ate the bait. Yeah, man, look at that gorgeous snook right there. Hell yeah, boys. Oh, such a beautiful fish. Good hook set right in the side of the mouth. Oh, that's my biggest snook of the season right there. Hell yeah. We fished all day or part of the whole afternoon for a bite like this. Ew! 26-incher. Let's get him back. Look at that thumb sucker. Look at him, he's just holding on. You ready to go, bud, whenever you are. Alright, so we're back, and it is chilly. Definitely not Florida weather right now. I got goosebumps. So on our way in, it was intriguing to keep fishing because this whole area is filled with mullet, and there were some massive blow-ups on mullet. And then on the other side of these docks, I also saw some mullet being blasted on. So we're gonna probably try and load up all the gear in the car, load up the kayak, and we might fish around here real quick if we don't get kicked out or locked in, because they're supposed to, over there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but a big blow up. They're supposed to lock the gate, or like they put a sign by the entrance. All in all, it was a decent, interesting outing. I learned a little bit, got on a little bit of a bite, and it was cool to finally fish mangroves for an entire outing, because that's something new to me. I've never done that before. And a lot of snags occurred throughout the day. Probably every other fifth cast, I had to go deep in there to retrieve my plug. But that's, I guess, part of the spoils of fishing within the mangroves. And luckily, we didn't lose any fish or break any off. We had 4 snook bites, landed all of them, and one of them ended up being a nice 26-inch snook, so that was pretty sweet. Anyway, if you guys could check out the Fishaholic merch, I'll link that down in the description. If you have any questions or comments, post that below. Look in the description for tackling equipment, and don't forget to subscribe to follow along with me on these journeys. So, like always, never forget, live to fish, fish to live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.